I wanna be a millionaire so freaking bad. Buy all the things I've never had. I wanna be on the cover of old magazines. But I won't sell porn to kids. You know who you are. I'm looking at you. You might be wondering what that intro song is even talking about. Well, hello everybody, my name is Ian Kirk Pattycake. I'm an author, idiot, loin streamer, and today I wanted to talk about a couple of different marketing schemes or scams or styles or just things that I've seen going on, not just in the writing community, but in general, but also specifically with writing and publishing and the ALA. I'm calling you out, and individual writers, because there's so much scummy business going on that, hey, why not talk about it? Why not make more people angry? Why not get blacklisted by more people? Because I don't like these marketing practices. But before we get started, number one, if you enjoy what I do on this channel, please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Number two, if you would like to be featured on the channel and for some reason be associated with me, even vaguely, there are two different ways. One is through Lamai, which is the monthly writing contest, down in the comments or down in the description, where I give you a prompt. You respond with a short story or a segment or something, and then top 10, as long as whatever fits into the segment, get read the first Monday video of the month. The second way is if you are an indie author and you would like your work shared on this channel, submit to the Fresh Meat feature with your first chapter and your cover. They'll be read here, and hopefully it'll help bring more readers to know that your work exists and find new fans. Because, you know, I can't read everything, I can't enjoy everything, but I'm not necessarily your target audience, and your book deserves to be found by more people. So there's that. And then if you would like to support me in any way or read any of my books, they're available at all of your favorite retailers. And there are other ways to support. Like, there is some merch, not a whole lot, but there is some. And there is technically a subscribe star that I don't like bringing up, but it does exist. So with that said, let's get into the topic, and I will look forward to your thoughts on I have five or six different marketing ploys that I've seen. I think maybe six. That I want to bring up, and I would love to hear your opinions on them down in the comments below. And before I really get into the subject matter, I want to make it exponentially clear that these are criticisms of the practice of manipulative marketing. Not that any of these things can't be used in earnest, and many, if not all of them, are often done earnestly by individuals, but they've also been seen and taken by grifters and confidence men who just want to sell you stuff. So my criticism of them is at the practices of manipulative marketing itself, and at the bad people using the emotion and empathy and care and human weakness in order to sell more stuff. And if you are one of the confidence men that is doing these things, shame on you. That is who this is at. Not people who are earnestly responding to certain things or earnestly writing certain things or earnestly sharing certain experiences, but confidence men exploiting experiences or movements or human emotion and experience or human experience in order to sell things. That is who I am critiquing with what is about to come. So keep that in mind. The first one has to do with the intro song, which is the banned books / canceled position, which the canceling position got much more popular in the last couple of years, especially with the political divide that's going on and the injection of politics into everything freaking non-political. Let's just make everything political and then sell everything on hatred and division. That's not what today's video is about. But banned books has been at the top of, has been so lucrative, I should say, that even Barnes & Noble have tables of banned books or shelves of banned books. And it's a ploy at this point. Because this is kind of a follow-up from my video I did last week about The Wild by Kay Webster, where she created a book that was a daddy-daughter taboo romance, sent it out to, in her own words, uncritically to whatever book bloggers she wanted because she wanted it to have the best chance. People got mad at reading this book with zero warning that it was a daddy-daughter romanticization. She got backlash. The book was removed, theoretically, from Amazon, and then she now has all of this merch on her website for I sell banned books. In recent years, it seems like banned books has become a low-key way of saying smut or erotica for children, because in a lot of places you will also see specifically sexual content that has been taken out of primary schools or grade schools where it doesn't need to be, and then it is called a banned book. I specifically have an article on this that I would like to walk you through that is from Poets and Writers. So let's go through this and talk about banned books. Libraries link to banned books. Schools and public libraries across the United States have banned books at a blasting pace in the last year amid heated political debates about whether young people should have access to certain narratives, particularly those exploring themes of queerness and race. Book banning has been most prevalent in places where conservative politics dominate. Pennsylvania, Texas, and Florida are among the states with the highest number of bans. Number one, let's stop here. And I am so irritated at the word queer and queerness being interspersedly used for anything that is actually pornographic. Because, now I'm not saying queerness itself is pornographic, but it's being used in these sentences to replace what is actually being taken out of the channel. Out of these places. So on this channel, I've also done a video book review, full review of the book called Jack of Hearts, which is one of these books that was in middle schools in the hands of 12-year-olds since 2017 at least. That is a guide on directions on how to sexualize yourself, sexualize others, telling children to use Grindr to hook up with older men. This is not about queerness. This is about a manual for children to have sex, and manual for children to have sex with adults, and a manual to dehumanize other people and see them only the same way that they would see a dildo. It is disgusting. And to just put this down to, this is just exploring themes of queerness. You're not a banned book, you're pornography in children's hands. And this is so dubious. And then you see stuff like the K. Webster, The Wild, where it's, oh, this is a banned book. No, it's pornographic incest that you're trying to sneak into people. And then in your own book, you call it an unconventional but beautiful love story. Can we just be honest here about what we're looking at? Banned books has become a scam from when it used to be in classics that were offensive and were getting kicked out for the offensiveness. Now people see, oh, they don't want that book in their curriculum. Oh, that district voted to not have that sexual book in their library. Banned book. The book still exists. Stop selling pornography as banned books. They're not. If you have more, I will do an entire collection of videos on banned books. If you want to send me more of these books that are being removed from school districts, so that I can walk you through exactly what is in them, because that is what happened with Jack of Hearts. So if you really want to one by one any of these books to know exactly what is in them, send them my way and I will go through them the way that I go through books to present them to you, so you don't have to suffer through them, because there's a lot of suffering involved. Anyway, continuing down, but libraries everywhere are fighting back. This past April, Brooklyn Public Library launched Books Unbanned, which gives teens and young adults free library cards that allow them to borrow from its online collection of more than 500,000 ebooks and audiobooks, including frequently banned titles such as Mia Kobabe's memoir, Genderqueer, Pornography, and All Boys Aren't Blue, a memoir manifesto. I would not trust anything that says manifesto to hand it to children. But, whatever. That's just me. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. News of the program, open to readers 13 to 21 years old, went viral after being picked up by national media outlets and shared on social media. More than 5,500 new borrowers have signed up across the United States and Puerto Rico, with the largest number coming from Florida and Texas. Prospective borrowers need to email the library for a card, and once it is issued, they can access titles on their phones, tablets, and computers through e-reading and audiobook apps like Libby and Simply E. I don't know, I feel like adults specifically setting up a library for children to check out pornography is kind of sketchy, but you let me know what you think. The idea was directly help out the young people who are being disproportionately impacted by adults pulling books off the shelves of their schools and public libraries. I don't think that there is any reason why there should be sexual books, like specifically titillating sexual books or how-to sexual books that are like Jack of Hearts, there's no reason that should be in a public school. And as a taxpayer, that is my decision to make. That is my money that goes into those taxes. I mean, technically not in the United States, or not in New York, but a public school is using my tax money for that thing. And there is no reason that a school needs to have sexually explicit books like Jack of Hearts in them. But hey, what do I know? Nick Higgins, the BPL's chief librarian, says, "We are trying to find ways to reach into communities where support doesn't exist." That also sounds like poaching and predatory behavior. I'm just saying, in this case, it's predatory. Books Unbanned is one of the largest scale attempts at addressing reading restrictions, says Higgins. The New York Public Library had a similar program last spring that granted instant access to readers across the country by a simple e-reader app to 4 commonly challenged books. Other programs against book banning from libraries, universities, and bookstores have focused on educational events, author talks, and book giveaways. They concentrate on promoting frequently challenged or banned book titles, which Books Unbanned emphasized access to on an entire electronic library collection. Based on just the way that this is speaking, it's no different than Kay Webster saying that her book was banned and now she has banned books. This could literally be talking about The Wild, because the entire thing around The Wild is, I wrote a banned book. It's so terrible. It is so taboo. It got this backlash. It is a banned book. Support me for being banned. And after having watched Webster's own video on the event, she talks about having received emails from people that don't read her genre but wanted to support her because they don't believe in book banning or censorship. So now you're tricking people into supporting and possibly reading incest porn by calling it a banned book. And then it falls into this same category here where they're like, oh, it's just exploring sexuality. Oh, okay, I guess fucking your daughter is also just counted in that, right? New York, is that what I'm supposed to believe? That I'm just supposed to uncritically, emotionally respond to banned books like, oh, that's terrible. We have to protect the sanctity of free speech. Having a book in the library and handing pornography to children is not free speech. Sorry, it's not. It's predatory. And I'm tired of people like this using these phrases and using the goodwill of people to actually want to enable free expression. I'm tired of evil people like this using that goodwill to pick off children, to sexually abuse children, to expose children, and then call you the bad guy for calling them out on it. The idea of the library is that you can have freedom to read whatever you're curious about, says Higgins. The impetus is a response to censorship efforts, but the overall goal is to establish what it is to the public. Library, to be a public library, would you put something in here that is, in fact, supportive of any ideology that you absolutely disdain? Would you put in your library manifestos to, like, white supremacy? In case people were curious about it, do you have that in there? Or is this just, like, some very specific sexual content? That's what I want to know. Access to the BPL collection, online collection, doesn't benefit only borrowers in states with the most book bans. It also helps readers in rural areas where access to libraries is difficult for a young person who might be an hour's drive away from a robust library collection. Higgins says Vermont, for example, has among the most users per capita. So again, you're targeting specifically children and specifically communities that don't want these books in their communities, because it's the communities that choose what books are in their libraries and their schools. So you are targeting people. For those in states where book bans are prevalent, however, the stakes remain high. A teacher in Oklahoma faced calls for the state Secretary of Education to revoke her license after sharing information about Books Unbanned with her students last year. But the BPL program may be the only option for young patrons to read certain books, as one person who registered for Books Unbanned recently shared in an email to BPL. The last time I went to a local library to look for LGBT books, I was told that I didn't need to get those kinds of ideas in my head, but as someone who is LGBT, it is hard to find anything non-religious or that I can't afford. Where are you going? I don't ever see religious books at the library. So I don't understand what world these people are living in, because this isn't, what local library is only stocking religious books? I haven't seen it. It's a bunch of BS. I'm sorry. It's creating a narrative to get you to emotionally respond to things that don't actually exist in a world that doesn't actually exist. In the same way that pretty much selling any pornography and pretending that a backlash to your mislabeled pornography is bad. You're gonna put hardcore smut into YA books and then push it on children or sneak it to children, and then parents or older people get pissed off that you've got adult situations in these books being handed to 12-year-olds. That's on you. That's not censorship. That's not a religious upbringing. That is you being a predator, being called out. Author of Jack of Hearts, whose name I can't remember. I feel like it was Levi, like Levi AC. All defend their pornography in the same exact way, mind you. That's not saying all LGBT books are pornography. Jack of Hearts is pornography. What they're throwing in schools, a lot of it is actually pornography. And they defended the pornography by tugging at your heartstrings for what is actually a fine cause. But they're using that as cover for their abuse of children. Which is getting mildly off topic. Banned books does not mean what it used to mean. It is a marketing ploy to sneak pornography into people's hands. That's all that it is. Basically, that's what it is. And we get down here to Higgins is seeking funding for books unbanned to make books unbanned a permanent program at BPL, which has to purchase a new license once the title is receives a number of holds on it. He hopes that Books Unbanned will inspire other libraries to open up collections, to form teen councils to further connect young people working against censorship, what it means to further connect young people to pornography. Farasia Islam, a 12th grader on the teen council, being able to read other stories is crucial. Quote, censorship makes some of us realize that we are not welcome in society because books relating to our life experiences are banned. Everyone should be able to read what they like, because when they truly love a book, that means that they have found a safe place. Look, pedophiles and pedophilia grooming books and groomers are not welcome in society. If that is you, sorry, not sorry, figure yourself out, and then you can be welcomed into society. But pedophiles and groomers are not welcome in society, and I hope you never feel welcome in society. Anyway, this is just a long way to be like, this is the normalization of the banned books thing. And so now you can have The Wild or Jack of Hearts or these other types of pornography sitting there right next to Catcher in the Rye or Sarah J. Maas. I saw a Sarah J. Maas book on a banned book list. Why does Sarah J. Maas need to be in a public school library? There was also a Stephen King book. Why did that specific Stephen King book need to be in a public library? I was talking to one of my friends who is a Stephen King fan, and she was like, oh yeah, that would be appropriate for middle graders. This is all that it is. It's not a banned book because curriculum changes. Get over yourself. And the fact that this is a ploy and it's using emotion to trigger people to purchase books is disgusting. That's probably one of the things that you'll see continually throughout all of these marketing ploys, which is why they are cheap and I hate them. Number 2 marketing ploy is the woke and the anti-woke garbage. Again, we're turning it into teams. We're turning it into an identity. You've had the rise of labeling things as woke or as whatever. What was before woke? I don't even remember. Social justice warrior was before woke. And so then I would say you're either with us or you're against us. And then it's in all of the writing groups as well, because people are like, you need to be on our team or not. And then it's in all of the marketing. And then you've got all the opiners and the commentators on the media saying whether something is woke or not, so that they can align you with themselves and against that thing, because it's so much easier to create a team dynamic and a mean-spiritedness to it if you say them versus us. And so now, in the last couple of years, you've also got the rise of the anti-woke content, where people go, buy my thing because it's not woke, it's anti-woke. And it's just as cringe as going, look at the woke stuff. I have picked up a handful of these books that would be considered the anti-woke that are sold as it. It's not a problem with the content itself being whatever the content is, but it's stuff that's marketed as, look at this woke book versus look at this anti-woke book. They do the same tropes of leaning really hard into this politically shallow garbage that it doesn't tell a good story. It all leans into propaganda one way or another. The anti-woke is just as cringe as the woke, and the anti-woke is also a marketing scheme by people who want to make money because you feel dejected. They don't really care about the story, at least from the stuff that I've picked up. They don't understand how to do storytelling. They just inject their own political bias into them because they see that's what the other side is doing, and they're like, I can do that too, and then it's a shit story. I'm tired of it. I don't trust anything that markets itself as woke or anti-woke because they're the same thing. Marketing scam number 3. Opiners that say everybody else's stuff sucks, but mine doesn't. Buy mine instead. Now, there's a difference between being critical of something, legitimately having your whatever it is that you want, and specifically being a destructive viewer. So you could say, look, I am your savior. Everybody else sucks but me. Buy my thing. Look, I might write books, and I'm also a reader who talks about the books that I read and will tell you what I didn't like about them if I don't like something about them. But I always recommend that you, one, purchase the books that I talk about if you're interested in knowing more about them, or if you want to talk to me about them, because I love talking to people about books. I don't care if I hated the book. I just like to get other people's experiences. And I also assume that you will hate my book if you read them. So I'm not saying I can fix anything. That's also why I run the fresh meat feature, because I know that I can't satisfy everyone, and I am probably likely to satisfy the least number of people with the way that I write. So I am not that guy, but I have seen that guy, Daily Wire, I'm talking about you, that will do the video lying to you that Avatar, The Way of the Water, is a racist flop, but it is one of the highest grossing movies of all time. That is a straight up lie. And then you look at how they also offer movies. So Avatar, Avatar Way of the Water is a direct competition. They can't be honest because they are so ideologically driven and they are so corporate that they are looking at that movie and they're not looking at it as a peer, they're looking at it as competition. And so when you do, well, everybody else is shit but me, marketing ploy. Especially when you get people emotionally invested in you, because it's very much like being in love with somebody where you got the rose-colored glasses on, and so you usually see the best only in that person, or the things that maybe used to annoy you don't annoy you anymore. And that same thing happens when you build an emotional response to a company or a corporation or an individual. And I think that it is scummy to do that and then trick people into buying stuff because they care about you and lying to them. Shit-talking things. And there's a difference between just not liking something and critiquing things for not liking it, because I do that all the time, and being completely dishonest, like saying Avatar is a financial failure when it's clearly not. And then attaching, political buzzwords. But then again, Daily Wire is a political arm, it's a political propaganda machine, and they want to force their ideology on you the same way that they hate what Disney does. So it's all just a scam by an ideologically driven corporation. At least that's what I've observed in my humble plebeian opinion. But you can't see what the sign says, but the sign says it all. The next thing is trope marketing, which has become very, very, marketing tropes has always been a fairly big thing, but it has become excessively more popular in the last couple of years. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, that's what sold Lightlark and got it super popular on TikTok, which then got it its movie deal, partially. And trope marketing can also end up writing entire books where characters literally just go from place to place, doing thing to thing, as long as it falls within a trope, where then everything else feels like it just revolves around hitting these trope scenes. I think not only did Lightlark do it, the Pawn and the Puppet did it, and it's all about getting those specific tropes and moments and scenes that do not necessarily connect. And as long as you can say that, but I unfortunately also see so many books that just market the trope, and it works for a reason, to get people interested in the quick, but also people lie about what is in those books by using popular tropes. And I think it's unfortunate that so much dishonest marketing, it not only happens, but is so common. Especially, it's not even just corporations, it's individuals see other people doing it and they're like, I'm gonna do that too. And then it's a continuation of lying. Then there is pity marketing, which is the fifth thing that I will talk about. And I'm gonna sound like a complete psychopath or completely insensitive, but that's just going to happen. I hate it when it's one thing to be like discussing, oh, this was a critical response that my book received, and I'm going to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. It's another thing to, I feel like, go on your social media account and cry that you got a critical response, and then be posting about it to get more sales. And I see it a lot. I can tell when I go onto your profile, when I see your crying post come up, and there are hundreds of responses to it and a bunch of people in the comments saying they went and purchased your book as they comforted you, and all of your other posts have like 3 posts on it. I hate pleas for pity. I hate saying pity me and purchase my thing. I feel like I'm having a bad day, somebody help me buy my stuff. Again, we're appealing to emotion, we're appealing to people's goodwill, we're appealing to people's compassion and manipulating them to sell product. I understand that getting a critical review is hard. It does suck, and it can be very affecting on our mental state. But there's also something really scummy to me about receiving what is a typical part of being a published author, and then using that sadness, that personal angst, to sell more stuff and to get other people's pity. I think it's gross, but let me know what you think. Another one in recent years that I have always had a problem with is the own voice self-report, or using personal demographics in order to boost something as a sales pitch. Now, I understand personally injecting yourself into stories. Generally, most of the time, most authors have some level of personal experience or personal identity injected into the story. However, I don't and never have agreed with making people's personal identities a marketing gimmick. And I think specifically own voice has become very toxic, because now there's this assumption that if you don't mark something as own voice, if you include it in your book, then you are taking advantage, you are pretending something, and then this is starting to try to force authors, and the incentive to out people of their personal background or traumas or whatever in order to sell a book or to appease somebody that, hey, I went through this, so you should give me extra attention. But nobody should be forced to out their personal identity, their medical history, their physical history, their mental state, their neurological disorders, any of that, in order to get a book looked at, in order to not be gang attacked online because they put somebody with arthritis in their book. But this keeps happening. So you either market it as own voice so that you can go, hey, look at me, I'm autistic, so you should purchase my book, or you're getting attacked and you go, hey, I wrote this, and it includes somebody dealing with chronic pain, and then they attack you because you don't experience chronic pain, so now you have to say, hey, yeah, I did. Or another past example is somebody who included like pedophilia or sexual assault and was so ganged up on that she had to express that was inspired by experiences and trauma that she had, and it was a coping mechanism. So there's all of this garbage around lifting people up by outing themselves, saying you only deserve this job or you only deserve attention if you sell out your personal information, and then other people thinking that they have a right to your personal information if you put stuff in a story, and the answer is no. It's so disgusting to use personal details and force. If you want to out yourself or share any of your personal information, that's one thing. But to make it a requirement in the industry, in publishing, and just writing characters, or else you get attacked, or else you don't deserve a chance, is frankly disgusting. And it's manipulative. The last one, because I came up with the 7th one while recording this video, the 7th marketing scam is uncritical buddies selling things. I'm sure that we can all think of a couple of people who maybe have public opinions. I'm just thinking in the publishing industry where sometimes agents ask other agents or their own clients, hey, would you write a blurb to go on this book? You don't have to read it, but your name being on the book saying this is amazing is going to sell more things. And that's common in both indie publishing and traditional publishing, where peers will not read the book. The book may not even be their genre. The more successful ones usually will be within the genre because that's more believable. But they'll only say those positive things in order to sell more books, or they will boost other people's books because it's just scratching each other on the back. It's just boosting each other up uncritically, and it's really toxic, especially in the indie community, because there are so many people that do not believe in even ever leaving critical reviews. And I know that this is a scary thing too, because you say that and you express it, and then people will get mad at you and possibly leave bad reviews on you because you're even saying anything at all. And you're like, oh, well, you would believe in this? Well, then how are you gonna like it when you get dumped on? And it's Reviews are so misused, and quotes are so misused for sales, and it's a whole bunch of selling things, becoming friends with other people in order to look like there is this ground game and sell things that you don't believe in. And it's one thing to be like, that's not my genre, but I will talk about it because maybe somebody else that isn't me will like it. And it's another thing to straight up lie. I don't like it. I don't like all the shady practices. I don't like how it makes it feel like it is readers and versus writers, and just writers trying to trick more people into buying their stuff instead of selling it on merit or having genuine discussions or genuine people like your stuff. It's a very weird thing, and I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's just very weird, and it's very disheartening, and it's how casual everybody is. Not everybody, but with lying and with deceit and with how difficult it is to have any conversations. And then even just saying this kind of stuff is very frightening and anxiety inducing because you call this stuff out and it pisses some people off. And then others might see some of what you've said and be like, I've done something like that. Do they think that I'm fake? And then get mad at that. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just telling you the marketing things that I've seen and giving you an actual response to it as an emotionally defective person. Not that I don't have emotions, but my emotions work in unfortunate ways. So those are all of the marketing things that I wanted to bring up today. I know we spent so much time specifically on banned books because that is, I would say that's the big one, but I feel like all of these are just being used a lot. Let me know what your thoughts are on any or all of these marketing tactics. Do you see them very often? Have you participated in any of them? I won't judge you, I swear. Any more than you know is already in this video. I will judge you if you're a groomer or a pedophile, but that's fair. So let me know what you think on this topic, on marketing, on the state of marketing, on how all of it is literally deception. Feel free, if you have a book, since this is a marketing video, if you're an author and you have a book, feel free to link it in the comments below. If any of them get caught in the filter, I will try to make sure that they get out. But since this is about marketing, and I want you to be able to market honestly, because I believe in your ability, and whether you deserve success or not all depends on whether you get found and the work that you put in. So with that said, have a great weekend and don't die. Hopefully I don't die as well. But
The only people who should come are those who want to meet their monsters.
If this is what Agatha wants, I don't know how we can even dispute it.
I change lives, baby.
And I end them. Sweetheart, no bargains hold. Only fools know restraint.
Only losers lose!
I've been under the knife so many times, I'm practically immune to it.
If your scissors are dull, may I recommend sharpening them with leather?
I think I hit you.
Mima says I must have a guardian angel.
To enter the ring but abstain from playing is suicidal. Your virtue makes you nothing but a liability.
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna die.